You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and this is a conversation featuring Eugene Kamlyuk, who is the frontman for a band called Sworn In. Now, Sworn In, at the time of the conversation, were touring Australia with a band called Northlane, who are from Sydney. It was really a bit of an opportunistic chat, so let's get to it. Here it is, my conversation with Eugene from the band Sworn In. Mate, how's the tour been going so far for you guys?
It's been going really well. We've been having a great time, seeing all the cities Australia has to offer and interacting with the people. Culture's a lot different than we probably thought, but we're having a great time connecting with all the fans and just random people that we come across.
Yeah, sweet. What's been the most significant, well, in your view, mate, what's the most significant difference between your part of the States and Australia?
That's a hard question because I've been finding so many more similarities and differences. But I think one of the biggest things we've noticed is, there's some cultural things like things people find comedic is a little bit different, so we're laughing at slightly different stuff. The food is a little bit different, so people, they like different things than we have at home to a certain extent. But in a lot of ways, it's very similar.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. I reckon I've been to the States a few times, and I reckon we're about 80% similar, 20% different, but that 20% is very different to each other.
Yeah.
That's what
very
I noticed.
Cultural different.
Yeah, that's it. So, mate, I'd heard of you guys before, and when I heard All Smiles, I actually feel that you guys have taken it to the next level, so I want to congratulate you on the album. What do you think has been the biggest... when you were working on the album, was there some sort of concept or something you were trying to achieve?
We're just always trying to take ourselves a step further and try and be honest with what vibes with us as well as, how it reflects on the music. So I think we did a pretty good job of representing that this time around. Yeah,
and about the album again, so I read the media statement which states that the album is a ragdoll of heavy metal, hardcore, goth, punk and alternative, best described as Slipknot covering the Black Parade. Does that sound about right to you, or would you change the description?
That's not... When I heard you say that, I could relate to it. I think that's not the most far-off thing. Yeah, it's heavy, but it's got the melodic vibe and the Gerard Way vibe in a way, you could say, if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, for sure, mate. And,
I would agree with it.
So there's a strong key and synth sound across the album. So where does that come from? Because, or I'll ask a question actually, is there a band or artist such as Depeche Mode that inspires the band? Because that's what the band actually reminds me of. It reminds me of metalcore inspired by Depeche Mode.
Okay, that's a great compliment. I think our sound is heavily influenced on just like a feeling. So a lot of what you described as like a synthy sound is like a guitar that's like screeching and like it's got a very like disturbed feeling to it. Not disturb the band, like disturb the emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what it was. I'm an old fan of Depeche Mode, and metalcore is very prevalent at the moment. But you guys are the first band that I really heard with some of those introduce quite a bit of emotion through, whether it was through synths or guitar effects or what have you. So you guys are the only ones really doing that, I think, and it's a bit of a branch out from what you typically hear in metalcore these days. So congratulations again on adding that very interesting element.
Thank you. We're pretty proud of it as well.
So brings me to my next point, actually, and which will wrap up in a question. The guitar performance is excellent, and I'm a big fan of the work that Josh Travis did for Frankie and Amur on their album Look at Yourself, and I can hear a bit of that same rhythmic riffage on All Smiles. So how important is the guitar sound to the songs?
Oh, it's very important. We spent a lot of time not only like working on the riffs themselves, but the tone and the feeling that the guitar gives with it. It kind of created the whole vibe that feels darker altogether. Because we went through a bunch of different sounds that didn't necessarily reflect how we felt with the music, and then eventually we came upon something that put it all together very nicely.
So do you start writing songs or constructing the songs on an acoustic guitar first, or can you talk me through how you actually construct the songs?
Well, our drummer Chris, he's the mastermind behind all the riffs and everything. So I think it just comes out naturally when, like, you think about grooves and stuff like that. You just work with something basic and turn it into, a bigger project, like the way that a sculptor would take a marble block and just refine it until it's perfect.
Cool. So, bit of a personal question, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how old are the guys in the band?
Did you say how old?
Yeah, what age are you all on average?
We're just early mid-20s.
So do you guys wake
22 through 26.
Yeah, it's incredible because I mean, I'm 39, so probably my time touring and all that sort of thing is well past because I've got a young family these days. But for you guys, do you wake up every day thinking, "Holy shit, we're actually doing this. We're actually touring the world, playing the music we love. So let's make the most of it."
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes when you're in the moment and you just keep doing it over and over again, you become like, what do you call it? Kind of like you build up a tolerance to every day being as excited, but every once in a while something will trigger that, like, holy crap, we're across the ocean in Australia playing music. How many people really get the opportunity to do something like this?
For sure, yeah. Because look, I talk to a lot of musicians and artists in their early 20s, and look, I get really excited for you all because I'm still a working musician, and obviously I do journalism as well. But I think it's so exciting that you've been able to follow your passion and really get to know your muse, which is obviously music. And pursue that, and it takes you far away across the sea, to quote the Weezer lyric. So yeah, no, it's awesome, mate. I get really excited for you all, and I guess that comes up to my next question, which would be, what's the biggest challenge for you as a musician in 2017?
Interesting question. I think we handle everything that we do really well. I guess the biggest challenge comes from, like, outside influences, like traveling is pretty hard sometimes. Getting on a plane at 3 a.m. to fly to the next city while you're exhausted. So, like, those types of challenges could be excruciating. But overall, as far as the music goes, I think we have a pretty good handle on it.
And the business side of things, do you find that can weigh on you fairly heavily as well, or have you got a very good management team that helps you look after things?
We do have a very excellent management team, and they make our lives significantly easier, whereas it could probably be a lot more difficult without them. So we're really happy that we have the opportunity to work with the people that we are working with.
Sweet, mate. And what inspired you to become a working musician?
Well, I guess it happened like when we were all still in high school, and we really liked, do you remember the game Guitar Hero on PlayStation? We were all really big into, like, video games and playing that. And then we decided, we could probably write music too and, like, perform it. And some of us had already been studying music, and we decided to give it a shot. And of course, at first it was a rough start, but as the years went on, we got a grip on it and find the direction that we kind of wanted to go in, and it led us here.
Fantastic. And what's the future hold for you? Like, if you got in business scenarios, they tend to talk about these 30, 60, 90-day plans. But have you got a plan for the next, say, 12 months, or what will be happening in the lead up to you recording the next album?
Sure. Yeah, we have our tour coming up in November. We're going to spend all of that month in Europe touring with Amir and some other excellent bands. And then after that, we're going to go home and slowly put ourselves in the mindset of new content. We haven't really started yet, but we're thinking about how we're going to approach our next CD and stuff like that.
I reckon that double bill there, I know there's another band you mentioned, but yourselves and Amir, I think, have got quite a lot in common musically. I know that the theme of the bands are very different, but yeah, mate, between your guitarist and Josh Travis and Amir, mate, that'd be a hell of a double bill to watch.
Hell yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're excited. find that we share similarities with them either too, and we have toured with them before, and it was excellent, and it can only be just as good or better across the seas in Europe.
Mate, that's it for me. Thanks so much for answering my questions. Congratulations again on such a wonderful album and all smiles, and I hope the rest of the tour in Australia goes well for you.
Thank you very much, man. We'll have a great time, and you have an excellent as well.
No worries, mate. Okay, all the best. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was my conversation with the frontman for the band Sworn In. His name, Eugene Kamlyuk. Thank you so much for listening.